I told you, more Ugandans reading might not necessarily flip some of the things that have already been screwed in so hard in our culture today. Yeah, I'll take example, you're wearing a suit that was designed from either Italy or something like that. But if you're contrasting that to the culture of today, perhaps that should be a backcloth, something that is made official in one way or another. Here we are struggling to have Kiswahili as a national language.
Yes.
Okay, much as we are within the East African country, we see that for Ugandans, most Ugandans chichaganye.
Yes.
Okay, and we are skipping Luganda as one of those. Luganda, the most obvious national language, because of political reasons. Yeah. So, what are those turning points that you see that we might have to really unfold to start this awakening that you're talking about?
First, we must understand that we as Africans, as I say, we are gifted by God, gifted by nature, like they say. The only problem is that we have been stereotyped with this ideology that we're perhaps a third or second generation in terms of ranking. No wonder the Constitution of America for about over 350 years designated a black man to be 3/4 of a human being. In other words, you are not a human being, but just about a human being, but less than an ape. That's the kind of ideology. So my argument, like you rightly said, is to free our minds, our intellectual capacity to think over and above. Now, like you rightly said, Okonkwo in his book, some of you probably read that book called Things Fall Apart, and these are the arguments that are made by Chimwe Chebe. In argument, there's a time when Okonkwo was actually being barred from going to study abroad, and he said, you're going to be indoctrinated by their culture. But he said, no, you go and study, get their good ways, learn their good ways, and bring them down here. So the point here is not that we should simply negate everything that comes from other jurisdictions. We could perhaps co-opt them, but without necessarily suffocating or completely destroying our norms and culture, our aspirations, our traditions. Let me give an example. We believe that polygamy is an issue. Nowadays, those days it was no longer an issue. Nowadays, it's the Africa or the white man has created it to be an issue. This idea of height versus height, the marriage between a woman and a man should be, final, in the Christendom, and should be that way.
Just pause.
Okay.
I think try to fast it.